All right, so we are going to identify the coefficients. So we have a negative x. When we have a negative x, this is like having a -1 times x, because in order for the x to be negative, it has to be being multiplied by something. So in this case, our coefficient is -1. When we have just an x, it's not an x by itself, we have one x. And so this is 1 times x, which means that our coefficient is just a positive 1. All right, so now we're going to look at like terms. So like terms have exactly the same variable and or the same exponent. So in this case, like terms would be things like 3x and 2x, or 3x squared and let's say x squared. And remember, there's like that imaginary 1 right here. So it's like 1x squared. Those are like terms. We also have things that might not have a variable. So this could be 8 and 3. 8 and 3 both don't have a variable, and so they are not, or they are like terms, I'm sorry. So since they both don't have a variable, they're both alike in that way. This 3x can't be combined with this 3x. They're not like terms because this one has an exponent and this one does not. And same with this. The 2x is not a like term with the 3x squared because it's missing the exponent. So those are not alike. These are alike because we both have the x, and these are alike because we both have the x squared. And in this case, we don't have an x at all, so because of that, they are like terms. So let's take a look at our examples. It says, identify the terms in like terms. Identify the terms and like terms in each expression below. Don't know why that repeats itself. Anyway, it says that we have 9x minus 2 plus 7 minus x. So we need to look at the like terms. I like to use the box and circle method, so I box everything in that has a variable. And when you box it in, you also need to include the sign in front of it. I know that this is a subtraction sign, but it's also going to be like having a -1 in front of that x. And so we need to include the sign in front of it. So we have terms first, which would be 9x -2. This is what I would circle because it doesn't have a variable. And I'd also circle this one because it doesn't have a variable. So anything that's separated by an addition or subtraction sign is a term. So we have 9x -2, 7 because it's positive, because there's that plus in front of it, and then -x. So now we're going to look at our like terms. Our like terms are anything that has a variable. Those both have an x, and so we have 9x and x. And then we also have things without a variable. So we have -2 and 7. So we have two sets of like terms in this case. All right, so our terms here are anything that's separated by an addition or subtraction sign. So we have 4 terms in example B. And so we have z, and I put a little line through my z just so they don't look like a 2. Oops, don't know what I was doing. That's supposed to be a comma. We have 5z. We have -3z squared because we include the sign with it. And then we have a positive z. Our like terms are anything that have matching exponents and variables. So in this case, I would box in everything with a z squared. And so I have z squared and negative 3z squared. And then I also have everything without the exponent. So this one will go blue. These two terms both don't have an exponent of 2, so that's why they are alike. So we have 5z and we have z. So in this case, we don't have any constants, which is anything without a variable. But you'll notice that if we have exponents, those are only alike to each other. They are not alike to our variables terms without an exponent. So in this next example, we have everything separated by an addition or subtraction sign. And remember, we keep the sign or the sign in front of it. So if it's a subtraction sign, we're going to call that a negative 3 in this case right here. So we have 4x squared as a term. We have 10. We have 3y. We have negative 3 because we include the negative, even though it's a subtraction sign. We have 7y squared. We have negative 3x squared. And we have just an x. So now for our like terms, we have, I'm going to draw above because I'm writing kind of large and I don't have enough room, but we have anything with an x squared. So we have 4x squared and we have negative 3x squared. Those are like terms. They both have an x squared. So 4x squared and negative 3x squared are like terms. Anything without a variable is a like term. So we have 10 and we have negative 3. Now these are not alike to each other, that's why I'm using different colors. Then we don't have any more with this one has a y and this one's a y squared. Those are not alike. So those are not like terms. And then we don't have any that just have an x, and so that doesn't have a like term either because there's nothing else with only an x next to it. We have an x squared, but that's not the same thing. All right, so you are going to do the try-its on your own, and then you're going to check your answers with mine.